Hello, thank you all for coming. I'm Tom from Uncut. We'll be doing this every day. Sorry, I was gonna. Here we go. Tomorrow we've got Laura Barton talking to Tamara Lindemann from the weather station. Then I'm back on Sunday chatting to Kurt Vile. Should be good. It's like similar times. 3:15 tomorrow, 3:45 on Sunday. But today I'm really pleased to announce the frontman of probably the most out there band playing this weekend, maybe. Geordie Greep, the Greep of Black Midi. Thank you. And Geordie, thanks so much for doing this. Have you done this kind of Q&A before?
Never ever. So maybe this is the determining point where we decide if we're going to do this ever again.
This is it.
It might be a disaster.
Could be the only time.
Completely awful. It could be very good.
You're all witnessing a one-off. You've been here a few times, haven't you? End of the road.
Yeah, played here twice before.
And how do you find it?
Brilliant. It was the first time we played here. It was quite early on in the development of the group, whatever. There was no album out at that point or anything. It was just good fun, and it was in the small tent. I think that was 2018, and then the second time we played here was in 2019, where we played on the Garden stage, the same stage we're playing today, but earlier in the day.
Nice. You done any camping here?
No, it's not my kind of thing.
You're a city boy, aren't you?
Yeah, man. That's just how it goes.
So you're being whisked away tonight to some posh hotel around here, are you?
No, 2 hours away, because we're playing in Manchester tomorrow, so it's probably wise to at least get some of the journey done tonight.
Nice. We'll talk about tonight, and then we'll sort of go off in some broader tangents. What have we got? What have you got in store for us later on?
Just a regular show, the kind of, just what we've been playing everywhere this year. Since March, we've been playing pretty steadily the whole year, then maybe 50 or 60 shows. So it's going to be basically the greatest hits of all of that. What's worked, hopefully not as much of what hasn't worked. Hour 15, maybe an hour 20. It's really good.
You're only scheduled for an hour 15 though. That's going to be, it's rock and roll for you.
You know what they say? It's like, if it works, it's got to happen. If it feels good, do it. Not necessarily, but a lot of the time.
You're pretty, well honed now, aren't you? You were mentioned to me a minute ago that you don't really have set lists as such anymore in the traditional way.
Well, that's a very new thing. It just got to a point this year playing so many shows and having those shows become almost indistinguishable from one another, at least to us, remembering them. And a big part of that was almost playing virtually exactly the same show every night. Having one song always starting a show, one song always ending the show. So at one point, this is recently, a couple, month ago or something, thinking, yes, force the hand and say, no set list, just be led by, the enthusiasm of the audience, of what we're feeling at that moment. I don't know, it's not any big, grand statement or anything, but it's just, giving it a go.
And there's going to be a lot of hellfire, I guess.
The album, yeah, why not? It's like, that's the songs that we can play the best now, because, it's the newest ones.
It's been so well received.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's probably your most sort of extreme album in some ways,
Yeah, probably, but it's like, we've been spoon feeding a bit more each time. It's like in The Princess Bride, where he develops a poison. He can drink poison because he has a little bit every day. We've given you a little bit more shit, so now it's like really good. It's received the same. It gets the same 8 out of 10, but it's a far cry from the goodness it once was.
You've sort of injected more cabaret in as well, you know.
Yeah.
Steadily.
Why not? You know, it's just about having fun and doing things that you are happy doing or whatever. It's like every time there's a bit less fear of it being taken at face value as you know, just you learn to trust the audience more, or give yourself a bit more leeway. Say it's not necessarily the case that if we do this type of song it will always be bad. It's just trying different things, you know.
I mean, some of the moments are sort of ridiculous in the best possible way, you know. That's what makes it so good. I mean,
thank you.
You are going for that. You know, you're not taking that as an insult, are you?
No. It's all about, you know, ridiculous. You know, it might be an insult sometimes, but usually it's just a way of saying something's different or unique or individual or whatever. And isn't that kind of one of the main goals anyway? So even if it is stupid and bizarre and silly, maybe that silliness once reined in will become something that's just original and good, you know. But maybe it is all just rubbish. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard you saying on a podcast, I think, that music now is so sort of subdued, kind of reined in. I guess there is a lot of taste going on in a lot of music now, isn't there?
Well, it seems like often, at least to me, it's like the most appreciated facet of music is like how subtle it is, or how kind of earnest, you know, it's very subdued, you know, which is, you know, all good things, but often it's just music that's bland, and it's just ways of making the music that's bland sound interesting, you know. So it's like, why not do something that's crazy and everything, and at the risk of making yourself look like an idiot, at least you might make something that's a bit more unique or a bit more daring or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
There's so much like personality in Cavalcade, but also in this. There's sort of increasing amounts of letting yourself go, I suppose, and sort of not being afraid to tell a story about, you know, a boxing match or something.
Yeah, I mean, what have you got to lose, really? It's we're in a very lucky position, you know, that we put out an album. I do a talk saying all sorts of nonsense, and people are here. People are listening. People listen to our music. You can't complain. I hate when people complain about their audience. Say, I wish, you know, my audience was different. It's like, bro, you got an audience. That's pretty good to begin with, man. It's like, what are we gonna do? Like, we have to make the most of that and put out. This might be the last album we ever put out. You know, music, whatever. It's all fickle. So why not make it the truest representation of what you want to do ultimately, even if it, you know, doesn't come off, and if it is not what you had envisioned, at least you're going out on your own terms or whatever, you know.
It's like, I mean, people like Tom York complain about, you know, that there is humour in the music, but that people don't necessarily pick up on it. But you know, I'm sure everyone here is picking up on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Is it's like, why complain about how people are receiving the music? It's like, people are listening to music in the first place. It's none of my business if people think it's funny or not, or if people think it's this type of music or that type of music. The fact that anyone's listening to it is really brilliant, to be honest. So that's that. And
I know there's sort of extra flexi disc tracks on there that you did with Steve Albini.
Yeah.
How was that? That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was good fun. It's good fun because it's you know, he's quite you know, a legendary figure or whatever, and he's very well known, and there's a lot of mythology about, you know, his recording methods and his personal tendencies and stuff. So to just spend a few days with him recording was helped to reinforce and dispel some of those myths. But yeah, it was just great. There is a lot of regrets with that session, to be honest. It's kind of like we did it in between a few shows and stuff, and we ended up just basically recording a live session of some tracks we already did. We recorded some new tracks as well, some unreleased stuff, but none of it, there wasn't that much intention there. There wasn't that like a big plan. It was kind of a bit slapdash. So the stuff that's on the flexi disc is pretty good, but it could have been a lot better.
I can see why it sort of appeals to you working with them. I mean, your guitar sound is so kind of brutal. It already sounds like a kind of Steve Albini sort of thing going on.
I guess so. I mean, I always liked his music, Big Black and stuff, when around the time we were starting up the group and stuff initially. So it's probably a natural thing that there's some similarity there. But also the main thing was just it's good to work with someone who basically treats it like a science. He's not really interested in commenting or anything to do with the kind of the musical aspects of it or the kind of worth of it. He's the only thing he's interested in when he's recording a band or artist is the fidelity. Is there any technical issues? When he, there's a sort of thing where you're overdubbing the vocals over the track or whatever in the control room, and then in the mix room, the engineer will listen back and check it's all okay. And usually they'll listen to it all together. But he does when you're recording the vocals, all he listens to in the mix room is the solo vocal and like a drum track or a bass track. So it's something that doesn't represent what the final song would be at all. Doesn't even sound like music really. But he's literally just listening for technical imperfections. You finish the take, you say, "How was that, Steve?" He says, "I didn't notice any technical imperfections." So he doesn't care about your performance, which is good because he's an engineer at the end of the day, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an engineer, but it's like you should respect any wrong choice that the band wants to make. Is their album at the end of the day. If they want to make a terrible album, what right have you?
At least it's going to sound good,
Yeah. At least it's going to sound good.
Terrible, but good.
But good, yeah.
That might be great, actually.
I mean, if an architect makes a absolutely garish, hideous building, you still got to lay the bricks as usual if you're just a builder, man. You're not going to say, "Oh man, I really think the left wing is a bit naff." You're just going to build it. So.
And you must have, you guys seem to be into so many different sort of styles of music. I know a lot of the way you write is almost pastiches, isn't it? You begin like that.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
And I know you listen to a lot of classical, like yourself as well. How did you what was your musical journey like? What did you start off with and what did you sort of then move into,
The thing is, I got into listening to music, like listening to albums in full from start to finish at quite an early age, like 7 or 8. I always thought of music as albums. So that became quite quickly a thing, like you'd watch a movie, you listen to an album every day or whatever. I listen to a few, and my dad is he's one of those people that just there's good music and bad music. It's not necessarily if you like this you can like that, and all that sort of dogmatic approach to it. He's very much of the thinking that music is music. So I would just kind of borrow random things from him, and sometimes based on the album cover, sometimes based on what he said is good, sometimes just at random chance. So quite quickly there was less boundary between this music and that music, and just going to different things. And then school teachers, friends, and then eventually on the internet and things like that.
When there's like salsa, there's like Brazilian.
Yeah, well, my mum used to work in a salsa club, and I used to hate it because I would have to often go there at night. If she's working late, I'd have to be there in the back room, and they're doing all this ding, 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 and all this stuff. Yeah, and I used to bloody think it was terrible. It's so loud. If you're a kid and you decide you don't like it, it's the most brash, annoying, really irritating music you can think of. It's these crazy horns the whole time, which are really trebly, it's incessant percussion, and they all sing in a different language, nothing wrong with that, but when you're a kid and you're just like, I don't even know what they're saying, it's like, I hated it. But then, years later, I would revisit some of these songs and some of these albums she's playing and think, you know what, this is beautiful, beautiful, amazing music. and there's nostalgia and stuff. But then it's also, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So Salah's music is great, but there's all sorts of music that I like,
And I'm sort of hearing almost like a bit of, I might be, you may not have come from this way, but a sort of like a Scott Walker kind of thing. The way he took this sort of crooning thing into very strange music, very out there stuff. But I guess he did it in a very sort of sparse, slow way, and you've kind of taken it in a fast kind of mad way.
Maybe so. I mean, I don't know. I love Scott Walker. He's obviously a brilliant singer, and the first, the 4 albums he did in the 60s are, of course, masterpieces. And then, subsequent kind of his more experimental work after is also really good. If a bit more challenging, But he's brilliant. The other guy that, kind of got a lot of that stuff from is Leo Ferré, the French singer, who's quite similar to Scott Walker. Different but similar in terms of he was a kind of really had a peak in popularity, and then after that went really off the deep end and started doing these absolutely crazy albums. But he does the much more speedy recitation of he started off as like a poet sort of thing and stuff. But yeah,
like a Brel kind of thing.
Huh?
Like a Jacques Brel kind of.
Yeah, he's like Jacques Brel, but he's much more intense. Jacques Brel is intense as well, but Leo Ferré, there's this one album called, I'm not going to say, I can't speak French, and I'm not going to butcher any pronunciation, but the English translation is There Is Nothing Left. And it's 6 songs, the last of which is about 18 minutes long, and it's just crazy music, absolutely intense, absolutely beautiful, and really kind of, it's extremely bombastic, huge, infinite music at the same time as being really intense, really sparing at points, really sparse and introspective. It's brilliant music.
That's really interesting. I like the way you've sort of looked at Scott Walker and Leo Ferré's kind of careers and sort of thought, I won't bother with the earlier bit, just go straight into the difficult stuff.
In reverse. Next album is just going to be sweet songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've got a very serious question here. I understand that you are very keen to go on Pointless.
Oh yeah, I would love that. If there's any, no, not quite. I'm gonna go on the Everyman's one. I want to win that cash prize, £1,000 to go on a little package holiday.
Can anyone help? Surely someone here.
Yeah, come on, contacts in BBC.
That'd be amazing.
I want to be seen by geriatrics across the globe. Get myself a rich widow or whatever, be written into some wills. But no, Pointless. It's a great show. I just, I'm not a very smart person, but I can often remember random facts, or they'll say, oh yeah, what year did this movie come out or something, and I'll know it. So I think I would actually be quite good. It's one of the few game shows I think I'd be quite good at, potentially. Maybe I would be terrible.
Isn't Richard leaving though to write his books? Yeah.
Oh well.
So you might.
I kind of like the elf guy as well. So.
I mean, you'd have to make do just with him then.
Mm-hmm. He's cool. He's a cool guy, I think.
And you just come back from, just recently-ish, come back from America, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been there twice this year, for one long tour and then one kind of short trip to Central Park and everything, and playing a few just bigger shows. But we're actually going there again on Monday for 2 months. So that's got to be the longest tour of the year, and also hopefully the biggest, the most lucrative. So we'll have to see how that pans out, but who knows.
What do you make of America?
It's very fun, it's cool, but it's somewhere I'd never, ever, ever, ever in a million years want to live. It's an awful place, but it's brilliant, it's brilliant, it's brilliant, it's like really fun. It's like Disneyland or something. Who wants to live in Disneyland? It's like, yeah, it's cool. Good in parts. But just the whole infrastructure and just the people there, it's like, no. No, thank you. No, thank you.
2 months, that's full on.
No, but that's fun because that's 2 months of just this. You have your crazy 2 months, but and you know there's an end. You know there's on this day I go home. If you live there and it's just wait, where's the end? I'm stuck in it. I'm in this horrible place. But what can you do? Some people are born there. I mean, I consider myself lucky. I was not.
And what do the Americans make of you?
To be honest, that's our best. The best crowds are there. That's our best area. So we'll be going there a lot more. I might even end up having to live there or something. It's a much younger crowd, which is, to be honest, it's just always better because they buy more merchandise. They're more susceptible to advertising. and also in the show, there's just more energy, But the shows are generally. What's good about America is that they're more relaxed about a lot of, if you play over the set time and stuff, a lot of time they're all right with it. In Europe, you play over the set time and they give you like a £10,000 fine or something.
So you can do 1 hour 20 and a 1 hour 15 slot.
Yeah.
Tonight.
We can change it up.
And I wanted to ask about, your schooling, because, we won't dwell on this, not that there's anything wrong with it, but you guys came from the Brit school, which seems so unlikely, considering what other famous musicians have come from there. But I guess it's a selective play. It's not some kind of like paid sort of public school thing, is it? It's just
it's just you just do an audition. So it's weird because there's a weird public perception of the school as like. A sheltered or like privileged thing or whatever. But you go there and the only barrier to entry is passing an audition, which is just based on skill, and all sorts of people go there. And in terms of the kind of famous people that have gone there, a lot of people go there that don't necessarily choose to divulge that they've gone there or to make it a big point in the press or whatever. The thing is, when we were first getting interviewed and stuff, it was a thing of, we just said, yeah, we went to Brit school, we got nothing to lose, we'll say it. And it quickly became, that's the line, that's the kind of selling point for this band. That's the story. So, there's a lot more emphasis placed on it than with a lot of other people that have gone there. There's lots of people that go there that is on public record that go there, but it's not really a point, like... Imogen Heap or FKA Twigs or a lot of people like that, where it's less of a sin to have gone, so it's not plastered everywhere. But I don't know. It's a great school to me. I think that they're doing a great thing in it. I hope it goes on for many more years. No bankruptcy in sight, hopefully.
Is there anyone who's keeping it a secret that you can divulge to us, or
keeping it a secret?
Yeah, that they went.
Oh right. Well, not really. I mean, it's probably all out there. It's not necessarily a case of keeping it secret rather than not saying it. It's like you can find it probably. I can't think off the top of off the dome, as they say. But yeah.
And I wanted to ask about a really cool band that you guys have toured with. That I think them quite well. Some people say they're like an alter ego band, but I've heard that's just not the case. Orange Tree Boys.
Oh yeah. This band from Las Vegas.
Nice.
They're really good. They're like a kind of throwback blues ensemble, and they play all sorts of songs. They're good, man. But they had a bit of trouble. A lot of their tours have been cut short due to visa issues, and I don't know if they can go across the Nevada state line anymore. But
oh god, that's that serious. That. Yeah.
But
they look quite similar to you guys.
Yeah, well, there's all sorts of, doubles, doppelgangers, If you read the works of Nabokov, you'll find them everywhere. But I don't know.
I love the shout out to them as well on the record and the kind of interlude halftime.
Yeah. Well, it's all about making connections. If we ever, like I'm saying, blues bands, they have an infinite revenue stream. There's always some guys listening to blues music, it's always going on. So if we keep that connection, good.
Yeah.
Then if this fizzles out, turns into next year, one guy sitting there listening to me talk. Well, not even, just one No one there. We're talking to the trees. You know, then I jump on the phone, plane to Vegas, and just a little blues residency. Easy money,
nice.
Easy money.
The only problem is they don't need you though, because they're so
Yeah, well, let's
good
just
in their
say
own right,
they
you
might
know.
have a couple favors to do. So.
I think you'd ruin them actually. You'd be taking them on these weird kind of avenues.
I can go simple, man. You know, I just need to just start every day, Jameson, and then I'll lose it all. All I want to do is play the blues, man.
Please don't dilute their sort of funk blues. You know.
Yeah, I won't.
It's what we.
That's my promise to you. If nothing else, I will not ruin the Orange Tree Boys.
Excellent. I wish they were playing here, but never mind.
Well, it's Visa.
I did try and get one of them for this, but like you said, they're not over.
It
Can't
happens.
come.
It happens.
And I know you're obviously Sugar Zoo is it refers to boxing, but you're a big boxing fan, aren't you?
Yeah, it's the only sport that I enjoy.
Right. Nice.
Because it's thrilling, you know? You never know when it's going to end. Could last 5 seconds. Well, it could not last any longer than, 36 minutes. But it could last anywhere from 5 seconds to 36 minutes. So it's like, it's not like they're going to have a football match and in the middle there's just a goal so good they just say, all right, that's the game done. You know? So where's the thrill? It's always going to be, even if they're getting... And then when someone gets thrashed in like a football match, once it's just like 9-0, 10-0, 11, not 0, yeah. Then you say,
10-11.
What's the point of this? What's the point of this? But boxing, once that starts happening, there's just craziness going on. So nothing like a good boxing match, a good war. So we'll see.
Would you try it yourself?
No. Because it's like, these people have been doing it since they're little kids, they're like, especially the Ukrainians, Lomachenko. I remember hearing a story about how he he was learning boxing and everything from when he was like 4 or 5 or whatever. And then when he got to 10 or 11, his dad pulled him out and says, all right, now ballet for 2 years. So he does ballet for 2 years and he comes back to boxing, he's moving around, doing this fancy footwork like, Fred Astaire or whatever. And then his opponents, they can't read him, So it's all about, it's such a technical, elegant sport, I think, It's got a bad perception because of, how superficially how brutal it is, or how injuries people get, even some unfortunate deaths in the boxing ring. But statistically, stuff like Formula 1, rugby, it's not far off. And also with boxing, there's all sorts of factors contributing to that stuff. And when you see people that are so technically impressive in the boxing ring, it's a sight to behold. It's really the closest sport to dance, I think. That and figure skating, those are the only 2 sports I like.
Nice. Well, last time I had my haircut, my hairdresser was going on about boxing, and I didn't listen at all.
Okay.
And I wish I had, because then we could have continued this. But
this
is all I've got.
That's all right.
This year we've got an exciting new thing. We've got a roving microphone for audience questions. Is the rover around with the microphone? Oh yes, yeah. Okay. Has anyone got any good questions? Oh, we've got one down here, or anyone higher up? Oh yes.
Are we gonna get any more Taylor Swift covers?
Depends. Let's wait for her to do some more songs. See which one is worthy of it. Hindsight's 2020. When the songs are just released, you don't know which is the one to cover. But 10 years down the road, yeah. So we'll see. Maybe the one about London boys. Maybe do that.
That'll be great. Okay. Who else have we got? I can't see the row. Oh yes, there we are. We've got some more down here. They're all clustered down the front. The keen super fans. Oh yeah, we've got one there just on the right. Yeah.
I saw your covers were done by designer David Rudnick. Just wondered what it was like sort of working with him and what the process was and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was great. He's brilliant. He's really good at what he does. And the main thing with working with people on the visual side of things, we've always maintained is that you don't interfere in what they do. There's no point someone hands something back to you. You commission someone to do something because you like what they do. They hand something back, it's not exactly what you expected. You say, change X, Y, Z, and you keep going back and forth until it's something you both think is okay. You know, it's much better you accept the thing that they're saying is great, even if you don't, necessarily get it. You know, so that our thing has always been just let them do what they want, and hopefully it's good, But with him, it was he was a fan of the band really early on. We heard, and coincidentally, we're also, we liked some of the covers he had done for other people and stuff. So when it got time to deciding who was going to do that cover for our first album, it was one of the only names to come up. Coincidentally, he liked us as well. So it just was very, like most things in the group, it was very kind of slapdash and, coincidental, lucky.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, in the red. This is the girl we're making our way down. It's like Kilroy, isn't it? They hand the mic around then, yeah.
I think Gustav Holtenas was the animator for Slow and Welcome to Hell, and I really liked the kind of link between those two stories. Will we see anything more like that from newer songs?
Well, that's another one where we didn't interfere with what he was doing at all. The whole kind of overlapping continuity or whatever was completely his doing. So if we work with him again, do something with him again, then maybe. But, it's like with a lot of other things, I can't say that it would be done with anyone else or that we could necessarily continue that on our own because we're not skilled enough in that department. So hopefully he can. No, never know.
Thank you.
Hi. Dos Monos remixed one of them. I noticed you're touring with them. How did you hear about Dos Monos, a seemingly obscure band?
To be honest with you, I can't remember completely. I think when we played in Japan in 2019, pardon me, when we played in Japan with, in 2019, they supported us. They played with us in Tokyo, and really nice guys. When it came time to say who could do a remix, potentially we asked them, they did it. So it's very simple, but I think that's what happened, yeah.
Cheers. Oh yeah, we got like four hands there. Hopefully we can get through those.
What do you read, and does that inform your lyrics?
Well, all sorts of things. The last book I read was short stories by I read to Eileen Chang, who is a Chinese writer from the 1930s to 1980s sort of thing, and she did these short stories about the kind of decaying Hong Kong aristocracy or whatever, and they're great stories. But there's a lot of other things, there's a Russian writer called Ludmila Petra something or other. It's one of those things I've always read, never said, so I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her name. But she writes wonderful short stories which are kind of send-ups of fairy tales and things, and kind of surreal, horrific, but very funny. But over the years, all sorts of things, and yes, that's the main inspiration for all of the lyrics. Most of the songs, you can say it's basically a pastiche of this type of story, that type of story. Yeah, on the new album, there's a couple of songs where it's like trying to do in the style of a Jewish writer, Isaac Bashevis Singer, and his stories about demons visiting Earth, haunting people, and interfering in various lives and everything. And also, one of the songs is kind of based on a Guy de Maupassant story. But yeah, it's boring stuff to go through. But yeah, it's all, it's all. I don't think you should ever be like, well, that's way beyond my means to emulate that. I'm not going to, just because it's too advanced. You know, it's like, why not? You only got so much time. And one of the things I think that is definitely true is that if you try and do something that you know you definitely can't do, then maybe your failure will be interesting.
All right, yeah, time for a couple more, I think. Or maybe these three.
Linking back to your love with boxing and your albums, just listening to albums in full, do you ever think you'll do a 36-minute song, like all the way through, just live?
Well, we thought that a few years ago. I said, what if we did a show where we took like a classic boxing match, like Rumble in the Jungle, or the Thriller in Manila, or like, Hagler v Hearns, or something like that, and like, just made a piece for it, a song for it, or whatever, and did it live, and had the screen playing the whole thing, and they were playing along. We've got a song for every round, a little respite for the moments in the corner. I think it could be cool. You never know, but it's just logistics and stuff, and it would be very hard to do. But it could be cool, I think.
Cool, we've just got time for one or two, otherwise we'll get a £10,000 fine, I think.
Yeah. The Scientologists. Yes.
On the set list being left behind and going along with what the audience is giving you that evening, how do we will you to do some of the deeper cuts on the albums, like Marlene or Dangerous Liaisons?
Well, tonight might be your lucky night.
You got your request in now, you got a few hours to it.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Cool, one more, I think.
There we go. It's very, very lucky because there only seems to be one hand going on.
I know.
So it's very, what a day.
So with like the viral, sort of viral clip of, I think it was Danny G over one of your, I think it was Slow, saying how much he hates Birmingham.
Ali G?
Danny G. So it was like fairly viral on TikTok, and he was like, I fucking hate Birmingham, I hate it here. And it was over Slow. Would you ever sort of sample any clips and put them into your music, or is that something you do?
In terms of clips, do you mean just like videos from...
Videos, like pretty much anything. It could be like songs, parts of songs that you've heard
right.
before, or...
Just sampling in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we love using sound effects and stuff. I always loved on Frank Zappa's albums and stuff, where it'd be a normal song and then the sound of a car crash or something, or like anything that seems to be the song, the movie, the whatever, declaring itself to be artificial. I've always liked that sort of thing, where it's obvious that this isn't a live performance or a real thing. But in terms of sampling, like in like a hip hop style or whatever, yeah, who knows? Never say never.
Maybe tonight.
Maybe tonight.
Yeah, you could.
Maria.
You could start just saying how much you hate Birmingham and the set tonight.
Birmingham, I mean, it's pretty cool to be honest. Factories, Black Sabbath,
sure.
Why not?
I'm not
going to say I hate it, it's rude. You know, I haven't spent enough time.
A little reference.
Yeah, maybe a little reference. Okay, fair play.
Have to wait and see, yeah. Well, thanks so much for the roving. Thanks to all for coming and the questions, and thank you especially to Geordie. Cheers.
Thank you.
And please take Uncut if you find one in your seat. And see you tomorrow or the day after. Cheers.